Well, right, we always talk about school of the week every Tuesday, just after 12:30, if we got the day of the week, then Tuesday.
Whoa, if it's Tuesday, it's Les.
Absolutely. Les Stewart's with us, we're talking education. If you want to nominate a school of the week, you can drop us an email, mick@radiocity.co.uk. Les, who are we talking about this week?
Well, we have St Margaret's Church of England Academy, which is based in Egbert, here in Liverpool. And we have online Greg McLean, who is head of sixth form, I think, Greg. And do you know what's interesting, considering what you're going to talk about, is the motto of the school is Fide et Labore, faith and work. And I think this is highly apposite. I was at the Educate Awards, Greg.
Yeah.
And guess who won the Career Aspiration Award?
It was ourselves, indeed.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so I'm actually a careers manager at St Margaret's. So I overtook that role last year.
Right.
And it was important for me, especially I'm a former student of the school, you see, so having seen St Margaret's from both sides, it's very important, you know, and it's something I'm very passionate about in terms of getting the right advice to our students. And obviously it's especially rewarding when you see former students coming back to the school and talking about their success stories. So the Educate Awards is something we've entered previously in different categories. It's the first time we've entered the Careers Aspiration Award. And basically you put forward a nomination as to why you think you should win it based on the programme that you've put together. And obviously we were delighted to be shortlisted amongst 4 schools from hundreds of entries. And obviously on the night we were announced as the winners, which we were absolutely delighted about.
Hey, congratulations. You know, fantastic as well. And so many conversations we've had on the air recently has been about getting kids ready for everything that comes after school. I know you got a careers fair on the 13th of December, and I'll ask you about that in a bit, but what sort of things will you be showcasing there? What sort of things do you think will have impressed the judges at the Educate Awards?
I think a lot of it was a programme we launched last year called the Work Inspiration Programme, which was to do with year 10 and 11 and almost giving them a bigger insight into the world of work from a younger age, really. And the idea behind it was for them to undertake lessons 1 hour per week about the world of work and different aspects of employability. And then the second half of the academic year, they then go out on a placement each Thursday afternoon. And the local companies, some big companies as well, have been really supportive of the programme in enabling us to offer those placements to students. And the feedback we've had from the students themselves has been that it's been a real eye-opener, especially with there's so many industries out there that they don't necessarily know about. You know, if you ask a student in sort of year 7, 8, 9, what would you like to be when you're older, you tend to get a stereotypical sort of 1 in 10 answer of, you know, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher. You know, there's some careers that they have absolutely no ideas out there. So the idea behind organising this careers fair was for us to be able to give them a wider range of careers to choose from, really.
And Greg, when they say to you, well, you know, what did you do, sir? And you say, well, kid, you listen here. If you play your cards right, you could be sitting on this side of the desk.
Absolutely. Well, I was almost in the right place at the right time, really. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and university wasn't for me at the time, and it just so happened that an opportunity came up within the school, and from there, I've stayed ever since. So I've been at St Margaret's for 15 years now. I'm almost part of the furniture, but I think it's important to stress to the students that if they don't know what they want to do come year 10, year 11, there's still lots of time, but the important thing is to make sure they get good grades, work hard, so that when they do come to decide, even if it is later down the line, that they've got those grades behind them to support whatever they want to do.
Now, when you started doing that job, though, when you started working in the school, Greg, you know, Facebook was the Facebook, and hardly anyone was on it. There was no Tinder. You know, online dating, there was none of that. There was no Snapchat, Twitter.
Absolutely.
The Xbox Ones were not to be seen. You know, we're in the different versions of that as well. There was no coding lessons for people and all that kind of stuff as well. So how have you been able to keep on top of all these different options and all these potential careers? There must be a million jobs which, you know, no longer exist because of automation and things like that that existed in 2002, 2003.
Yeah, I think the important thing is, I mean, I started working here in 2010, so I think in that time between then and now, my relationship with the students has always been strong because I am quite close to their age group, and I think the fact that I'm in touch with that side of things, but it's important as well, I think, since I've taken over the careers role, to create a good network of contacts, really, especially with local companies, because a lot more students now aren't necessarily choosing university for obvious reasons with the cost implications and the time that it takes to complete a degree, whereas they could be earning straight from when they leave school. So I think it's important for us to have those contacts as a school with local providers of apprenticeships and traineeships, a few of which are going to be there at the Careers Exhibition tomorrow. So I think that's vitally important as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've highlighted, Greg, quite rightly, the importance of good careers provision, and I accentuate the word good, and getting the right advice. I know back in a dim, distant past, I did some careers work in one of the schools I worked at, but, you know, we were under the impression that now and then some schools were giving not particularly good careers advice to try and get the kids to stay on at the school, if you know what I mean. And thank God that's changed. And you know, but the other thing you've also highlighted is careers advice always started in year 9. Now you're saying no. Let's start it from year 7.
Absolutely. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head in terms of it's absolutely vital, especially when obviously we start ours in year 7, and it's a gentle introduction into what careers are out there, and that's based on what I was saying before about there's a sort of standard answer that you tend to get, and it's important for students at that age to think, oh well, I didn't know about that, you know, that interests me, and what do I need to get there? So we organise things like enterprise days. And we have visits from universities, you know, to inspire them, and you know, as to what they need to get there. And then sort of come year 9, that's when obviously they're starting to choose their options for GCSE. So we try and give them good advice as part of that process to make sure that they're making informed decisions. And then come year 10 and 11, we have an impartial careers advisor who comes into school, so they're getting independent advice then, which is, you know, when they're in year 11 and they're coming to choose sort of sixth forms, colleges, apprenticeships, it's important that they hear advice from not just ourselves, because obviously that can come across as, oh well, you know, we're trying to get people in just to fill space, and we are definitely not like that at all. You know, we want the best for our students, whether that be that, you know, if they're suited to an apprenticeship, we sort them an apprenticeship sort of thing. So it's absolutely vital that sort of independent advice is very important.
And Greg, just give us an example of, you know, somebody who's sat in front of you who's got their own idea, you know, at the age of 11 or 13 or whatever age it would be, to say, well, actually, I fancy doing this. And you've either put them on the path, or they've already been aware of what the path is because they've already got a plan, they've already figured out in their head what it is they want to do.
Well, it's funny because you get some students who know, as you say, from year 7 might have a plan of what they want to do, and they're fully focused on that, and then you might get a student who's come 16 years old, who's in year 11 and hasn't got a clue what he wants to do. And the important thing is to present them with all the options available. Now, if someone's knows exactly what they want to do, then the best thing that I can do is to try and find them work experience placements and contacts that are specific, and they're going to be relevant for what they want to do. And I am quite passionate about, you know, so I would imagine that it's easy for schools to just organise a work placement and send a student out anywhere, as opposed to it being actually relevant to what they want to do. So I find it it's a challenge from an administrative point of view, overseeing it, you know, and saying, well, okay, what do you want to do, and then trying to find a placement in that industry. But if that student's going to find that much more rewarding, then that's worthwhile, in my opinion.
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing worse, Greg, than bad work experience.
Absolutely.
You know, it has to be prepared for, a good placement, and then a good debrief, and that's when it becomes valuable. I know, because I've met him a couple of times, your head, Stephen Braley, would endorse 100% the work you're doing, Greg.
Oh, thank you.
And well done. Thanks
very much.
That's good to know. It's good to know, isn't it, Greg, that the boss is on side?
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be great if you said, if Les had said, I've spoken to the boss and he thinks you're a bit of a wild child. You're going off the rails here. Greg, thanks for your time. And
thanks, Greg.
Congratulations on the Educate Award. That's Greg McLean, Head of Sixth Form at St Margaret's C.V. Academy in Egbert, our School of the Week. Les, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mick, as ever.
Great to see you. And thank you for everybody who wants to nominate your schools for School of the Week. Send them in, mick@radiocity.co.uk.